I'm quite comfortable being in different disciplines that I don't know because I'm used to being able to navigate those conversations, communicate with different people, learn different methodologies. The thing that will make you really good at what you do is something somebody will have to point out to you because it will be so natural to you, you won't realize it's a skill. Good software for deep tech is necessarily complex, but not everybody needs to spend all day learning this stuff. But I think there's things that work at 20 people that doesn't work at 100 people, that doesn't necessarily work at 200 people.
This is Mitchell Miles here, and welcome everybody back to the NeWell podcast. And today, I'm excited to have Lauren Harbinson on the team, or on the show. I mean, maybe not the team, but looking forward to hear a little bit about your background, Lauren. I have a general idea, and so for everybody to give a little bit of info and context, she has very impressive resume and background and everything, and especially on the customer success side, which I'm excited. On the show, we've had a lot of like CROs and kind of go-to-market leaders in that capacity, but I'm really excited to talk a little bit more about the customer success stuff. That's a big actual interest and passion of mine, and a little bit also some of the things I've done in the past. So I'd love to hear what you got going on. So Lauren, I'd love for you to just share a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, share us a little bit about your background, things like that.
Great. Thanks, Mitchell. And it's lovely to be here. Thank you for having me. As you
Yeah.
said, I'm Lauren Harbinson. My career didn't actually start in customer success, nor did it start in SaaS. I actually trained as a mathematician. So I did a lot of years of mathematics,
Wow.
specifically around computational fluid dynamics, which is an even more niche and somewhat boring area of mathematics.
Sure.
But really, I think coming out of that, what I got an interest in was multidisciplinary science and tech and these sorts of things, because I went to UNC Chapel Hill where they had a big focus on that sort of thinking. And so I went off, I did a couple of postdocs in aerospace engineering, computational cardiology, got some more exposure and some more cross-functional thinking there. And then I left in 2017 to join a startup as a data science engineer. So I really thought my life was in tech. It was in building nice tools. It was in solving cool problems. And I had a boss and a mentor at the time who said, there's this thing called customer success. I think you'd like it. I think you'd be quite good at it. And I laughed at him and said, no, absolutely under no circumstance am I going to do that.
Wow.
He managed to convince me that just try it for 6 months. I can hire somebody else after that time. I just need somebody to do it. And I thought, sure, we're a small startup. If you want me to stand outside with a sign, I'll do that. You pay me. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I tried customer success. It was really new at the time, especially in the UK. This was about almost 10 years ago when it wasn't quite a discipline. It had been in Silicon Valley, but it hadn't quite made it over here to the UK. And it turned out I really enjoyed it. And I was decent at it. So
Wow.
yeah, he convinced me to keep going with it. And that's where we started with $0 of revenue. We grew it to about 5 million, grew a global team supporting global customers in the pharma biotech space that we were making software for. And that was my kind of first foray into it. Since then,
Wow.
I've moved and I've done the same with a medical device company. So I was working with a neurological medical device company here in Belfast for about a year. And we established customer success from scratch, kind of changed delivery into customer success, much
Hmm.
more about leading the customer, about looking towards the next thing, doing a strategic planning, all of that kind of stuff. And then about a year ago, I was actually asked by that original boss who convinced me to get into customer success to come to his company where I am
Wow.
now. And we are I'm at a company called IriusRisk. I'm VP of customer success, and we do software for cybersecurity professionals
Oh, wow.
that that helps them build safe before, sorry, design safe before they build, so they're not building, penetration testing, rebuilding,
Oh,
that
yeah.
sort of thing. So I would say the common thread here is that I've always been in products I couldn't actually use on a day-to-day basis.
Sure.
I can click the buttons, but I couldn't do anything meaningful with them. It's a bit like
Yeah,
my 2-year-old trying to type a letter, you know.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But it's
That's
a
classic.
it's an interesting niche, and it's I quite enjoy tools for professionals, especially tech professionals and STEM
Hmm.
professionals.
Wow. That seems like a pattern you were saying because you were like in a niche of a niche in mathematics, and then when you got into even tech and everything, it seems like you're in like these niche pockets.
Yes,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
much so. And I think there's going back to that idea of there was this big multidisciplinary approach when I was in graduate school. I'm quite comfortable being in different disciplines that I don't know
Hmm.
because I'm used to being able to navigate those conversations, communicate with different people, learn different methodologies.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of people would find it terrifying to lead a customer success team for a product they can't use, and I
Hmm.
I just kind of take it as normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, that shows you're fairly adept. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
try. I also
Yeah.
hire good technical people.
Well, those two skill sets, being able to recruit top talent and get people in the right seats, and also being a good problem solver and adaptable, like being able to diagnose and fix problems, I think is, it's a very valuable skill. So,
Yeah, and there's
yeah,
some things that are just in B2B SaaS that are ubiquitous. Operational problems. You're trying to always have people work more efficiently, have more traceability, have more scalability, save your
yeah,
ROI costs. Like, these sorts of things are pretty ubiquitous no matter what
mhm,
what type of tool it is.
yeah, yeah. So one thing you mentioned earlier, I'd love to ask about. Which side note, I thought it's kind of cool. The other day during it was on Thanksgiving, so my wife's family was in town, and I think her sister asked like if an interesting question. It was just like a icebreaker. It was like if you could have one skill set that you could just like the Matrix, like be like
Yeah.
I know kung fu. It's like if you could just snap your fingers and what would it be? And I literally said, which I've never thought about this before. I was like, I probably would want to be like a mathematician. You know?
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know why, but I'm like, I feel like that'd be a useful skill in life. Like if I could just do a lot of like very high level math in my head, you know?
Yeah,
So what's that like?
that's a good question. Um, what it's like today, it means that as a leader, I'm very comfortable using data. I'm
Yeah.
comfortable finding data, creating data, interpreting data, feeling very comfortable knowing when data is good data, when it's bad data.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's, people ask me all the time, do you still use your degree? And I'm like, I make nice Excel sheets for the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, you do see in leadership now in SaaS industries that there's those who can use data and those who can't. And I think that's been helpful for me
Yeah.
to have that as a background.
Totally. I can imagine. That's pretty valuable and applicable in a lot of cases, you know?
Yes. And
Yeah.
especially when you're looking at, you know, holding a big book of business, when you're looking at how you're going to split your accounts, whatever it might be, it helps to
Mm-hmm.
have some form of data to help you drive your decisions,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
you can put together with a bit of experience.
Absolutely. So you said that your previous, which is now your boss too. So your
Yes.
previous
Also,
boss mentor.
yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And so you said he was trying to talk you into getting into client success for like 6 months, which I have felt kind of, nostalgic when you mentioned that. Cause so at the previous company that I was at as well, I had, there was actually two people. One was, it was actually a customer success director. And then we
Mhm.
had another branch under customer success, which was specifically recruiting, which is like was his own division. And on both cases, the department leaders that I recruited, one was Igor, that was his name, and he was in sales, and he didn't really want to be like a team leader. He liked building teams, which is what we were doing, but he didn't really want to manage, people. And I remember he just kept saying no, no, no. And I remember for months I was like, I see leadership in you, man. And I was like, I really believe that you should just give it a shot. And then eventually he caved and did it. And he's still there doing a phenomenal job. So I feel like, and
Brilliant.
it's interesting how some people are like resistant to that. And then the same thing happened with Kate. like phenomenal executive on the team, but she was on the sales team as well. And I was like, I think you should lead the recruiting department. And she didn't really want to, and I talk her into it. And then she loves it, and she's still there.
Yeah.
She's just absolutely doing a phenomenal job. And I thought that was I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
How
And it's, it goes back to something I heard once that's my favorite bit of career advice I've ever heard, which is the thing that will make you really good at what you do is something somebody will have to point out to you because
yeah.
it will be so natural to you, you won't realize it's a skill. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened to me. I was in tech for so long and in kind of very deep engineering and mathematics and computing and supercomputing, all these things. Social skills, communication is not a skill set there.
Yeah.
It doesn't help you. In
Right.
fact, it probably got me in trouble because as an academic, I was a bit of everybody's bridesmaid and never the bride because I was like, oh, I'll work with you on that. That's cool. I'll work with you. That's cool. Let's collaborate. I had all these collaborators.
Yeah.
But I was never that first author. This is my thing. I shut the world out and just focus on my little area.
Yeah.
And so I never considered it a skill. In fact, it was the thing that was probably keeping me back from being a professor at
Mm.
the time. And so when Mark pointed that out to me, I was like, you're good with people. I was like, huh?
Me?
Say what now? Why does that matter?
Yeah.
Um, and so it was just one of those things where I'd never been told that, and I'd never realized that could actually be a skill in business and that collaboration and being able to
Hmm.
work with all sorts of different groups of people until I tried it. And then I was like, oh, this is easy and this is
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it, what was that moment for you? So you said eventually you caved and decided to give it a shot. What was the moment and the deciding factor?
I think it was when he said I could back out if I didn't like it because he said,
Oh,
"Look,
wow.
I can't hire somebody right now. I can hire somebody in a couple months. Just do it till then." So I
Mm,
think it was hard to swallow when it was the idea of taking a huge left turn after spending 10 years doing deep tech stuff, right?
hmm.
When he posed it as a just try it, you can back out of this, you can go back to what you were doing, then it felt risk free. It was
Hmm.
like, and it felt like the stakes were low because he didn't have anybody else who could do this. If I just showed up every day, that was probably going to be good enough.
Mm,
And so I didn't feel as intimidated trying something new
right.
because it kind of felt like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We all just shake hands. I go back to doing engineering. Everybody's
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you
So
loved it.
I did. I
Yeah.
did.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Enough
Yeah.
to just stay in it for the last, 8, 9 years, something like that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so one of the things you mentioned a second ago too is you said you kind of changed delivery, like in a way, and I wanted to explore that a little bit more. What did you mean by
Sure.
that? Yeah.
So the company I joined, they work in the clinical trial space. So they deploy this medical device into clinical trials to help get information about what drugs are doing.
Hmm.
And the way the post sales had been run up to that point was you have an order, we satisfy your order, good luck.
Mm.
Call us at the end.
Okay.
Um, so there was no strategic account management. There was no talking to them about what's coming on the horizon, where we could go together. There was no nurturing. It was very, this department will ship you your equipment. This department will teach you how to use it. And then we kind of won't talk to you
Hmm.
for the duration until we start to close out the trial. So there wasn't that customer nurturing process. There wasn't thinking about repeat business.
Mm.
So I kind of, even though medical device isn't quite SaaS, it's more of a product. I kind of brought some of that repeatability thinking in and started to help the team talk to customers about what they want out of this, what the value is going to be, not just of the data they'll get at the end, but the experience of working together in a clinical trial, how they want this to run, how we can best work with their partners, their CROs who are running the trial, and start to build those more business to business relationships beyond just here's your device, hope it goes well.
Right. Yeah. More like proactive leadership, maybe.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
More leading the
Yeah.
customer. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. That's yeah.
Yeah.
That's very oftentimes it's a missed opportunity, because I think a lot of, it's thinking about it. Your team, well, it's the name of that department, right? It says, customer success or client success, and as opposed to customer, service, right? And I
Yeah.
think a lot of customer success teams show up in more of a customer support way, as opposed to, like you said, leading the customer, right?
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think customers want to be led. Obviously, with their environment, their opinions in account. But, what customers want is that warm, fuzzy feeling of, I've got you.
Hmm.
I know what you want to do, and I'm going to help you get there with our
Yeah.
tool.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be in the driver's seat. It's like I've said before, if a plumber came in to my house because I had a leak in my kitchen and asked me what type of pipes to put in where and to pick
Right.
between different metals, we're all screwed.
Yeah.
Like my kitchen will leak forever. I don't know.
Right.
I'm not a plumber. I've asked you to come in to sort out a problem. I've not
Yeah.
asked you to come in to make me drive the solution that I don't know anything about.
Hmm.
So it's the same with B2B SaaS. They may have a
Hmm.
process we need to work into. They may have a program that's amazing when that's in place. But fundamentally, we're the experts in using this tool and getting the most out of it. Let's help them do that. Let's
Yeah.
hear where they want to go and take them there. And
Hmm.
that is leading the customer.
Yeah. It is. It is,
Yeah.
and I think the reason, and I'm curious what you think about this, but like the reason why a lot of these teams are resistant to that is because for example, the plumber mechanic analogy that you shared, sometimes you take your car in, or that you get your diagnosis, and they're saying, oh, you need this, you need this, you need this, and they're thinking like, are they being honest? Are they just trying to sell me something? Like, how have you dealt with that? You
Good
know,
question.
yeah,
Um, and it's partnership with sales. So
yeah,
I believe in a separation of church and state for exactly that reason.
mm,
Church and state being customer success and sales at this point.
yeah,
And there's, I think the dance between the two teams is critical to maintaining that trust. I've done it both ways, basically. I've run teams before where CS didn't talk about money at all, didn't talk about renewals, didn't talk about expansions. They were just there to be the trusted advisor, to make sure things are going well, to help them get their strategic goals fulfilled. I've done it that way. It's not ideal because it kind of divorces CSMs from the idea of pushing for bigger, and
hmm,
it focuses them more on maintaining what we have and not introducing any risk, which isn't
right,
going to help expand your business. It isn't going to help expand the partnership.
hmm,
I've also run teams where they're much more money people. They talk about renewals, they do all the pricing negotiations, they do all the procurement, they do everything. And what I found was with that team, you would see the lights go out in the customer's eyes because now they realize you have a money
hmm,
objective.
right,
So the way we do it now and the way that I prefer to do this is we we set up the goal for the AEs, but we don't shoot on goal.
mm,
So we bring the AEs in when we think there's maybe expansion opportunity or some of the tougher negotiation around a renewal and pricing and those sorts of things, because we want to keep that relationship that we're here for your success, not
mm,
necessarily the number at the end. Sales says does what it says on the tin. They're going to try to sell you more. You know what you're going to get,
yeah,
and that helps. I think customers differentiate in their mind. I can talk to customer success because they're not
hmm,
necessarily trying to sell me something. And it's when we are, it tends to be in the frame of you've explained your problem to me. I think I can help you with
mm,
that. The avenue to do that would be adding a module or whatever it is. Let me bring in my AE. They can talk you through what that really
yeah,
means.
yeah. That makes sense. There's like a transfer of trust. It's like the CSM has the trust relationship, and then says, hey, here's what I really think, but why don't you talk to this person about it some more? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and I'm sure customers know we talk to our AEs internally, like there's a lot of
Yeah.
information sharing across the team and that sort of thing, but I find that customers feel very comfortable dealing with those roles separately, and when you conflate them too much,
Hmm.
you lose trust or they don't talk to you, which is even worse because then
Right.
you don't know what's coming down, what's coming in
Right.
their business or with their budget or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's brilliant. And so what's it with your current, the company and the team, what's like your biggest challenge you're encountering right now? Like, what are you doing to fix for that?
Ooh, great question. And I'm gonna say a couple things. So I think this is going to be a surprise to no one. It's scalability, efficiency.
Mm,
Do more with less is always the name of the game.
yeah.
Um, I think today, getting that sort of challenge today is a bit easier because of AI. We've got a technology accelerator that can help us do that, which we can start to wrap our head around and employ in certain places. Um, Years previous, it would be how do we make our operations more efficient? How do we use more repeatable resources, repeatable playbooks, these sorts of things. So I think this year it doesn't feel quite as terrifying because it's like, okay, we've got this actual technology accelerator we can harness. I think the challenge for us is always that in deep tech, you you really need that account team of a customer success manager who gets strategic account planning. They get understanding customers' goals, they get understanding the process, the budget, the wider picture, the operations, all that kind of stuff. They do all the threading of the multiple teams and the people and these sorts of things. And then you need a technical account person.
Mm,
You need somebody that speaks the language of the practitioner, that can use the tool to do real things that I
totally.
can't. Um, and I think in deep tech, you really need the two together
Mm,
to make things successful. And where we struggle is always the resourcing.
mm,
One, finding good people, but two, the scalability of those people to a certain number of accounts.
mm.
Um, and I think that's an area we're really looking at this year to try to get better technical resources to our customers without having to have too many expensive heads.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you thinking, does that look like finding more talent or replacing talent or what?
Honestly, it's extrapolating talent. So we're looking for people at the moment to fill out the team. So we've got a couple of headcounts we know we'll have.
Hmm.
But then we're really looking at trying to harness AI to help do that where the knowledge is coming from these experts, but
Mm.
they don't have to be on every customer call to deliver it.
Okay. That makes sense.
So almost coming up with an AI technical CSM
Oh wow.
sort of role
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, that can help us and making sure we can feed the right data into the model, train the model appropriately.
Hmm.
Because our customers are always coming to us, as I'm sure other people would say, with, what are other companies doing? How do we do this better? What are the best practices? And all
Right.
that sort of expert guidance is usually what our technical team does.
Mm.
And there's just not enough of them to go around.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right.
yeah.
Well, there's definitely like I've noticed at least in the market too, like a big increase, significant increase in like AI consultants and AI experts and things like that. So it's interesting how that's even now a growing, way to really, whether it's like starting a business or like taking on a full-time job or just doing freelance work or whatever it may be. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it's also interesting because it hasn't really been around that long either. So I feel like being able to vet who knows what they're doing and who knows what they're talking about, like that's the tricky part.
It's the garbage in, garbage out,
Yeah.
right? Of data where absolutely you need to make sure that the AI is working off good information, that it's giving good answers.
Hmm.
Human in a loop's always going to be part of this, but can we concentrate our energy and get that in writing such that an AI can ingest it and actually help?
Yeah.
So right now, for example, we've got CSMs sometimes on calls with customers. They'll start to talk about something, and the CSM will realize, okay, this is quite in depth, quite technical. I need to get a technical person on the call. Then they'll have to have another call with the technical person. On the call, the technical person may have just dropped into that account. They don't know the background too much, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of back and forth internally to figure out what are they doing, these sorts of
Hmm.
things. But if the CSM could kind of have some better information up front on that call by referencing the AI version of
Yeah.
this team, then maybe that just gets them through that interaction. They provide more value to the customer. Obviously, my, you know, evil goal, if you will, is to have this enabled for the customer, but that's going to take a lot of debate with my product team um,
Totally.
to do. So we'll fight that battle a different day. But I was saying to some colleagues that, I was using Salesforce the other day. I was trying to build a report, and I was trying to build some derived values off the report. So I wanted to do some addition, some subtraction, have a bit of if conditions in there. If this field says this, then add it up. If not, don't add it up. And I was struggling because I couldn't figure out why I couldn't set something as currency. So I went to ChatGPT, and obviously Salesforce has tons of resources online.
Hmm.
The wealth of data out there about how to use Salesforce is enormous.
Yeah.
And I just asked ChatGPT, this is what I want to do. How do I do it? It got me through. It told me exactly how to do it. It told me what the workaround to this problem I was having was. I went in, I fixed it in Salesforce, I moved on with my life. And my immediate feeling about the software was, I can use this.
Mm.
It's good software. I can do what I want in it. Had I had to scan user documents
Right.
in Salesforce for 4 hours, I'd be like, I hate this tool. Why
Yeah.
is it so complicated? I'm just trying to add up some numbers. This is a reporting tool, and but it completely changed my feeling of my ability to interact with a necessarily complex software, right?
Yeah. Totally.
And and I would love to bring that to our customers at some point, because
Mm.
good software for deep tech is necessarily complex,
Yeah.
but not everybody needs to spend all day learning this stuff.
Yeah. No, an incredibly useful, I mean, resource on all ends, right? From a business perspective, but from the customer perspective, and it's just going to continue getting better, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so.
And so I'm kind of curious too how, and the team that you have now, more like from like a full like go to market engine perspective, like, uh, yeah, how do you guys approach, from like a second ago, you mentioned the challenge of like scaling, but scaling efficiently. Like, how do you guys approach that? Because obviously I see a lot of patterns. Like we work with plenty of companies on this particular problem. And a lot of times the companies, they have a philosophy around like over compartmentalizing departments. As you were kind of alluding to earlier, you're like, the sales and customer success is divorced. And so I think that's a dangerous oversimplification, and it can cause a lot of silos and like just internal politics, bureaucracy, turf wars. But then from a pure scalability standpoint, again, you're trying to solve problems in isolation that are like related, right? So,
Yeah,
for example, like maybe marketing kind of sets the expectations of customers coming in from initially, and if those expectations are off, that can cause a challenge with the sales team, right? And then the sales team sometimes, in order to hit quota, maybe they just kind of go along with it, and then the customer success deals with these customers coming in with false expectations potentially, and that's just one example that I see time and time again of
yeah.
then that hurts the customer sentiment, and that hurts repeat business, and then it causes all these issues. And that's just one example. But how do you guys approach scaling the business, and with all these different departments, Yeah, I'd love to just hear your perspective on that.
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think first of all is I try to set a real culture, and my team will know that I say this all the time, that customers are a team sport and they're a company wide sport. They're
Hmm.
not they're not a customer success only sport,
Yeah,
right? It takes different roles. I mean, it's just like I was talking about with sales and CS earlier. I love to bring sales into our account so they can play their role on the
totally.
field. We can play ours and the game goes well, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I think having that team mentality is really important. Backing that up with comp plans that are well aligned, where everybody's driving to the same goal, helps. And so doing a lot of cross departmental work to
Hmm.
kind of do that. I think within our team, we very much we very much try to make sure that at least for our various functions, there's no siloed thinking. People are communicating about customers, they're communicating in the same place about a customer. One of the things we changed this year was it used to be that customers were discussed mostly in direct messages over Slack, or like kind of locked channels where only a couple people were in, and then maybe engineering was building something and they were in a different channel and all this kind of stuff. And I said, right, let's have customer channels, customer customer name, talking about the customer, you talk on the channel. That way anybody involved in the account knows this is what's going on. They can see the history of what's been discussed. And we're not doing these kind of silos of communication,
Totally. Yeah.
and things like that. So I think it's a lot fostering that culture. I think it's a lot trying to work with other groups to help them help us. So I always have this philosophy with sales that if we haven't enabled them with the right information to set the right expectations, that's on us, not them.
Mhm.
So, for example, we've got on-premise deployments. We work in security, people still want to be off cloud. And if we've not told them these are the types of on-premise deployments we can do, and then they go and sell the idea of a different type of on-premise deployment, that's on us, that's not on sales. We are here to enable them to make the right call. Now, if we do that and then they still go off book, then we discuss that, right?
Yeah, totally.
And
Exactly.
sometimes it's just everybody understands we had to take this punt, we had to make the quarter, and it's not, everybody kind of acknowledges CS is, I don't want to say set up for failure, but CS is starting with an uphill battle, right?
Mm.
And if we can get that recognition in the business, so it's not when the contract comes to an end and there's an issue, everybody's going, well, why did CS screw it up? It's about kind of raising that visibility a bit early,
Yeah.
making sure people are on the same page.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think it's not really it's not really a scalability thing, but it is a, to me, the relationships we have with other departments is where our success lives or dies. We
Yeah.
can't work as an island.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, just the internal, I mean, it's so fascinating how a lot of these complex problems are fixed with very simple solutions. Like, let's just change the way we communicate
Yeah.
as a team and like with other departments. It's so simple, but it really does change everything, you know?
Yeah. And
I,
my team will know I have very, very little time for an us and them mentality
mhm.
internally.
Yeah.
They'll know that as soon as that starts, I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want to hear it.
Right.
What are we going to constructively do together? How can we help the situation?
Hmm.
How do we play together nicely? How do we collaborate?
Yeah.
And I think having that, has helped. It's helped everybody as far as I can tell from the frontline team, because they don't feel like if they go to another department for help, it's now seen that they're not doing their job.
Hmm.
It's seen more as, I'm a midfielder, you're a striker. I'm going to bring the ball up halfway. Can you put it in the goal?
Yeah.
And people get that
Right.
teamwork a lot more, and everybody's incentivized to score.
Yeah. 100%. And what's
Yeah.
the saying goes? It takes like they say it takes a whole village to raise a child. kind of thing. It's like a similar mindset. Like it takes the whole
Yeah.
company to, it's
To raise a client. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so true.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. Yeah.
So what's going into, obviously we're at the end of the year going into 2026. I know you said a big focus is about efficiency, and you said like, team talent extrapolation, things like that. But like, what do you, I guess, what are you like most excited about? Like,
Ooh, good question.
yeah.
Um, I think a few things. I think so. I took this role on about a year ago, and I think we needed to get the right big pieces in place. There was a lot of change over the last year, both from a process perspective, from a personnel perspective, from a leadership style perspective. I was new to the business. They had somebody who was different than I was before, so everybody was kind of adjusting to that. And so last year I felt like we had to we had to remodel the house,
Mm,
right? And now I feel like we're at the point where we've got the right people in the right seats. We've got the right general idea of what we're supposed to be doing, the right team mentality and where people play in that team. Now we just need to crank the wheel,
mm,
make it better, and go for gold. Like I
yeah.
just feel like we can kind of turn the machine on now.
Mm, that's great.
And that I'm quite excited about because I think the team has done really well with the change, and I can see that the change now will come from the team, not me.
Mm,
They're excited
yeah.
and they're pointed in the right direction. They're the
Mm,
right people. So I'm really excited to kind of see what comes out of it and
yeah.
not need to be quite as heavy-handed in no, this is going to happen, then this is going to,
Yeah.
when you come as a new leader and things are a bit out of whack,
Yeah.
you've got to make some strong motions sometimes to reset the org.
Yeah.
But I think we've done that. I think we're in a really good place. And I'm just kind of excited to see what the team generates
Yeah.
as the next things.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
yeah, what's like the first thing in January? Like,
Oof. Let's see. I think it's some of these, I think it's our enterprise accounts. So we've kind of got two areas where we could do some work. We do the middle accounts well without any big change. So two of the areas we focused this last year are in really big enterprise. How do we manage this well? Because that's where you've got a lot of people coming in and out of accounts. There's a lot going on, and there should be,
mhm,
right? Um, and then on the other side, we've got our SMB side of the market. And because this company grew so fast, I mean, it went from something crazy like 4 million to 20 million in less than 3 4 years. Like it
wow.
was just absolute hyper growth.
Hmm.
It's a good market and a good product. So uh because of that, we've been nurturing our SMBs, not quite with the level of handholding as enterprise, but with a lot more white glove than would be traditional. So trying to get those that part of the market more self-sufficient, faster, and trying to get them with less, sit on a call and deal with one of our experts time. That'll definitely be part of the focus. And then on the other side, we've got the enterprise where we've got a couple enterprise customers that we've really nailed the account mechanics of this year that we need to spread to a wider pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
those are the two areas.
Is that a separate like division, like a separate team?
No,
No. Oh wow.
no. So we're not quite that big. So we run really lean.
Mm,
We've got about 150 customers. We have 6 CSMs
wow.
globally. We've got 6 technical experts who are our solution architects. Sorry, we only have 4 post sales. The rest
Mm,
are pre sales. And then we've got a small professional services team. We've got an onboarding manager, and we've got a 4-person support team,
Well,
something like that. We're a really lean team
that's great.
for how much
Yeah.
business we support.
Yeah.
You can see why we need to AI ourselves
Exactly.
to take on more business.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think so right now we don't have a dedicated team that's enterprise, but we do have a CSM in international, a CSM in North America who are our enterprise CSMs.
Mm.
They tend to hold the big accounts. We've got our mid market guys, and then we've got our SMB
Well,
guys as well. So it's more one person as opposed to it's a real department.
yeah. I mean, that's sometimes like my favorite, you know, and you have like one person who's like kind of leading an initiative, and instead of like a lot of people, you know, sometimes it can move faster. It's like innovate faster, adapt faster, things
Yes,
like, yeah. So that's great.
yes, and
Yeah.
there's more. We're still a relatively small company. We're about 200 people overall, so there's lots of room for if you do something cool with a customer deck, pass it on to everybody else. Let's just pick it up, adopt it,
Hmm.
um, and keep the innovation going.
Yeah.
We're not super process heavy.
Yeah.
It's
That's good.
it's not it's
Yeah.
not me.
I could relate. My the company I was at previously, we like I joined. We were doing like around 1 million and a year. My close friend of mine was the founder, and we scaled like really quickly. I mean, we scaled to like I think it was 30 million in about like 18 months. It was like a year and a half, and then over the course of another about year, we got to like 50. But we did that. I mean, it was like about 100 and like 40-ish, I think, right around the time I left, 140 people. And one of the things that like we just every offsite, every like we just we're always like reminding people is like what if we do what we did in the beginning, like there will be no end.
Yes.
Right? I think Jeff Bezos kind of calls that the day one mentality, but that we coined it. It's like if we do what we did in the beginning, there'll be no end. And that whole idea of like, you know, like we wear multiple hats, like the whole like that's not my job is like we that's not anything we'll ever say. That's like not in our vocabulary here. And and I mean I think that served us really well, you know, and I think any other team that I hear like you guys, it's like growing really fast and you have great customer success, great customer results, like teams, like good culture, you know, and it's usually like something that's like a pattern that I've noticed, you know. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And I think, you know, there's there's different strategies for different scale,
hmm,
right?
yeah,
I've worked at 20 people companies. I've worked at 200 people companies. That's kind of my range there.
hmm,
I've got friends that work at global tens of thousands of employees, but that's
that's
not for
wild.
me. It's a totally different world.
Yeah,
Um, but I think there's things that work at 20 people that doesn't work at 100 people, that
hmm,
doesn't necessarily work at 200 people.
right,
Um, but it's not about over processing. It's about doing the things that work and still being a bit lightweight and a bit agile, but with enough structure that you have a repeatable customer experience,
hmm,
that you have tools for people to use, kind of what's happening at scale.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, the more the team can help with that, the better. Because you get to a position like ours and you're so far away from
yeah.
the day to day of the front line
Oh,
that
100%.
they have
Exactly.
better ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like it is kind of backwards. Like if you can, you know, it's like your team gets big enough and it's like the people at the top have all the authority
Yeah.
and like none of the context. And then the
Hmm.
people at the bottom, you know, the front lines maybe is a better terminology there, but people on the front lines have the least amount of authority in all of the context. And so it's the better that you can create systems where like you can close that gap, the better, I think.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
is the challenge, you know.
It is. We
Yeah.
do an initiative here called Frontline Obsession, which I quite like. Um, our COO brought it in, and it's bringing somebody who's in kind of a frontline team. So just, yeah, frontline, into our SLT to tell us what 3 things they think are working really well, what 3 things they think we could improve as a
Hmm.
company. And it's really, really useful and really interesting to kind of
How
hear directly from them.
how often do you do that?
We do that once a month or yeah, I think it's once a month.
Yeah, that's a great practice. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Frontline
Yeah,
obsession.
same. Because you hear things, and even though it's not my area of the world, I find it really interesting to hear what the BDRs think
Yeah,
because they're dealing with a whole other part of the market that I'm not seeing people till they're really committed to going down this path and using our tool. I don't know what it's like out there, and they see things that we don't, and
yeah,
you know, it's really interesting.
yeah,
It's a cool initiative.
yeah. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, what are your closing thoughts? And just to our listeners, we obviously have a lot of B2B, tech, IT, listeners. Yeah, like you had to share just like maybe something recently you'd like to pass on. What do you think?
That's a it's pressure. Let's see. That's a
Drum
good
roll,
question.
please.
Yeah, drum roll, please. Um, it's a good question. I think there's a couple thoughts that have been running around in my head recently, so I'll just share those. I don't know if they're my best wisdom of all time, but we'll go with that because they're coming to mind. I think, especially for a company like ours, and I'm sure a lot of companies out there that are we're fully remote. A lot of people are hybrid. I think what I see a lot is people live and work in Slack, Microsoft Teams, whatever it is. And a lot of times I see slacking where there should just be a conversation.
Mm,
Um, so trying to put a bit of the human element back into some of these great technical tools that we have now is something I've been thinking quite a bit about recently.
mm,
Um, whether that's just, with a customer, if you've got to go back and forth twice, get on a call.
mm.
There's no point in sending 8 emails over 2 weeks trying to
Yeah,
solve a problem. Get on a call,
yeah.
sort it out, talk to the customer. It'll be over in 30 minutes. Everybody will be happier for it. So I
Mm,
think, as we scale, it's so tempting to reach for automated tools. It's tempting to reach for these sorts of things, but customers at the end of the day are still people.
mm.
We still need to have that human to human communication working,
Totally.
whether it's with them or with another department, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about that quite a bit. I've also been thinking about the the attention the attention economy. Have you heard this? I
Mm,
never read the book. I heard it's a book, and I
yeah.
like the idea of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think
um,
I don't know if I've read that Attention Economy. That's the title.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. Somebody told me it was a book, and I was like, oh, I get the concept, and actually, it's a really great word to use.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think our customers, their attention is saturated all the time.
Hmm.
So one of the other things I've been talking to the team about and thinking about recently is let's do more showing than telling if we can.
Hmm.
So don't tell a customer in an email, hey, we've got a great thing coming out. Can we get on a call and do a demo? Show them something, show them a screenshot,
Mm.
show them a couple of screenshots, show them a few minutes of a video, something, because everybody's asking for attention right now.
Yep.
And all of our customers have better things to do. As I always say, maybe this is one of my more classic wisdom, customers have a job to do, and the only people paid to use our tool work at our company.
Mm.
So they all have a job to do that we either help them do better or we don't.
Mm.
Simple as. They're not getting paid to use our tool.
Mm.
So it's a bit of a reminder that, you know, we've got to help them. We've got to make it easy. If we really want them to see something because we think this is really going to help your use case, whatever it is, show them a bit. Don't just say, I've got this cool thing. Can you get on a call?
Yeah.
Everybody's busy.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said just adding a screenshot, I think that's honestly just very underrated. It's very underrated, underutilized.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it because I've been thinking about this so much and I'm like, am I on the wrong track here?
Well, yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people will be like, I'll try to save some time, so I'll send a Loom, and sometimes I get so
Yeah.
annoyed if I get a Loom video. I'm like, I'm in between
Yeah.
meetings. I'm like, now I got a Loom, I got to watch. I don't know how long it is until I click it, and then I'm like, okay, do I have 15 minutes? Do I whatever? But like a simple screenshot, I can take a look and be like, oh yeah, this is worth my time. It goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly. All
yeah,
because all you're trying to do is get somebody to want to give you their time.
hmm,
And it's hard. Our customers are busy.
yeah,
I'm a customer. I'm busy. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So I think I keep telling my team, show more than tell, right?
hmm,
Both in team meetings and with customers. Show us. Stop telling us because everybody gets a much clearer picture. People get more excited.
hmm, yeah.
It goes a long way.
It's you like honestly, that goes a long way also with revenue teams. Obviously, that's a good portion of the people like we work with. And the most common challenge these days are like customer or prospects that like they are ghosting, right? It's like
Yes.
they
Yes.
stop responding, and it's
Yes.
it's honestly such an underrated thing to get them back engaged is
Yeah.
just send a screenshot. Like don't send a video. It's really tempting to be like, hey, we have a customer testimonial, or like, hey, we put this together for you, or
There's a link to a webinar.
yeah,
Yeah.
here's a webinar you should join. It's like, no, they don't have the time. But if you have like a Slack message or an email or something from a customer that's like, hey, this worked really well. Thank you so much. Something like that. Or maybe like something quantifiable, like, hey, we tested this out and here's like a quantifiable win. Like to screenshot it, send it to everyone in your pipeline and be like, hey, we just got this from a customer, and, I thought of you, or something as simple as that. And they're like, oh, wow. Like, you know what I mean? It goes a long way. One of the things we did at my previous company too is we just had a customer wins channel in Slack, and anytime a CSM got a response, a customer like had a good experience or something, if there was like a screenshot, they just drop the screenshot in that channel, so the revenue team can just pop in there and like snag them all day, and it
That's a
also
real,
yeah, it also helped just culture because it would just be blowing
yeah.
up, and people
Yeah.
are like, let's go, they're so excited.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah,
I really love that because I think, part of our job in CS is to help bring the internal teams to the customer, help the customer come into the internal teams. That doesn't always mean physically, but people in engineering are sitting writing code all day. They don't want to do that if it's not impacting
hmm,
somebody positively. And we don't always get those messages back to them.
yeah.
Usually we come to them because something's gone wrong, which they don't really enjoy, which is fair enough. But I think that bringing that positivity in is always a challenge because of just the scale of it, and
Mm,
you just never kind of get around to it. But that's a very simple idea that could really help. I like that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it
That's cool.
worked well for us, so yeah. Well,
Very
Lauren,
good.
thank you so much for your time and for your
Thank you.
insight. Yeah, I love what you're doing a lot, and I think it's like very underrated. Very we need more conversations around how to bring frontline teams and backline teams like to closer together, and everything you shared about like communication and like culture and even these two teams working cohesively. I like what you mentioned about the kind of partnership between AEs and CSMs, and I think that was like really valuable. So
Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate it. I
yeah,
really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you
yeah,
for having me.
yeah. Likewise. Awesome. Well, I'll see you soon.
Great.